Because sadly, a lot of men don't even know how to lead, let alone lead. And sadly, sometimes women don't know how to follow because they always led. Hi, welcome again to another episode of Share with Charlotte podcast, where emphasis is placed on finding balance in relationships. I am the creator and host, and I just want to say thank you for tuning in. This particular episode that I'm getting ready to talk about, it may even need a part one and a part two because there's so much involved in this particular subject. And this particular episode is titled When Love is a Battlefield. When to fight or when to flight. That word, guys, Love, love. Love has gotten us in a lot of trouble. Love has gotten us through some things. Love has a lot of time guided us through life, whether lack of or the fact that we're satisfied in that area. But love carries a lot of weight in how we maneuver life. All about how we maneuver life. It's needed. Whether it starts with loving yourself or whether you don't love yourself or whatever that is. Your spiritual relationship with God, love. Also how he loves us, love. But love. Love is in so many different aspects of our life. Love. So let's talk about that. And I kept thinking, but where do you start with this? And I have to say, let's take it back. Let's take it back to the beginning. And I know in my first podcast that I did, the first episode was titled Beginning. And when you was introduced to what was relational to you. Well, this is a different kind of relationship. This relationship involved when you yourself wanted to feel like you was in a relationship with someone or you was introduced to what that could be like, which is different. I'm going to share with you for me. I have to go back to, for me, 5th grade. 5th grade for me was, I remember 2 young boys who really was best friends. And they, during recess, literally would fight each other as to who would be my boyfriend. So during recess, they would fight as to who would be my boyfriend. You know what's so ironic about that whole thing is I didn't like either one of them. These 2 little boys had issues. I was more of a reserved young girl, 5th grade. Of course, if you've never seen or visited my other episodes, then you wouldn't know that I'm from a little East Texas small town. Our classroom at that time was segregated. It was all blacks. Very intimate classroom. And it was just funny how these boys would fight over me. As if I wanted one of them. Funny. And so that was my first encounter of like relationship or who desired me. But I have to add that there was one little guy that I actually had a crush on. Didn't pursue that or anything because I'm reserved and I'm a shy girl. But we can go back even further. Because a lot of time when kids start school, you may ask, is anybody you like in the class? Your little boy, you got a little girlfriend yet? The little girl, you got a little boyfriend. And then one says, yeah, I like somebody. So who do you like? The boy may say, oh, it's Melissa. Well, what do you like about Melissa? Shall we probing? What do you like about Melissa? She's pretty. She smiles at me. She brings me gum or she gives me candy or she shares some of her lunch, whatever they may be that draws you. Same thing about the little girl. Who's your boyfriend? What's his name? You see how we're encouraging that? We're encouraging that. But I found it really ironic that even a Facebook, one of the Facebook, and you just, skimming through Facebook, and this little girl, and I know she can't, if she's even in public school yet, she's probably pre-K or younger. And she tells her parents that she's in love with this little boy. And they're like, no, you're not. Yes, I am. I love him. And then every clip and every episode they do is about this little girl dressing up for this little boy. Or they're going somewhere that maybe the little boy may be. And even at that age, you're already imagining of being in a relationship, defining love, even at an early age, is that. Then I had to think about my boys. I have 3 sons. And I remember in elementary school, Valentine's. And they were like, Mom, I like this person and I want to get them something for Valentine. So what do? Because I was a single parent. I'm going to make sure they get to that store, find what they want for that little girl to give to her for Valentine's Day. I'm encouraging the relationship. But I'm also showing them how to treat someone that they care about, how to be still nice to them. So it's a 2 lesson in 1. I'm encouraging relationship, but yet I'm also teaching them about just being nice. But I did that with all of them. If you like someone, I was there to assist you. And they were young. And I did that all the way up as they grew. And I was always wanting to know about who they liked and tell me about the young lady. Tell me this, because I want to be involved. I want to be in the know. That way I can also assist and render my opinion and maybe help them to just be better in whatever it is they were pursuing. But either way, I was still encouraging that relationship. But we do that. And then we think a lot of what we do, and we ask, oh, but it's cute. They give you a name. Oh, I like Johnny. You like Johnny? Yeah, I like Johnny. And then you want to know why they like Johnny. So they give you a reason why they like Johnny. But you're still probing it, but you're still encouraging the relationship. And then as kids used to pass papers. Will you be my boyfriend? Will you be my girlfriend? Check yes or no on a box. I'm sure some of you can relate to that. But even then, it was encouragement. Kids could probably barely spell, but they could spell that out. But we encourage that sort of thing. So you have to go back to the beginning. And then think about the dolls. Like Ken and Barbie. It wasn't enough to make one doll. Now they have to make 2 so that they have a relationship. Barbie loved Ken and Ken loved Barbie. So if you get Barbie, you got to get Ken. They go together because they make a partnership. They form a relationship. And I remember when I used to play house. I was in the country, so we would go down and, as we call, down the hill, and you would have your little space for your house and all this. And I didn't grow up with a daddy in the house. But I would play mom. I had my little kids, but I would always have a daddy. And that still, as a child, still wanted to still be in a relationship. It was a natural order in how kids think. I would still have a daddy. Even though at that age I didn't even know what that felt like to have a daddy in the household. Except the one I shared with you in my first episode called Beginning, where my first encounter was with my mother being abused. She had someone that grew up when I was like 3 and 4 years old. But then after that, I did not know anything other than my grandmother had my grandfather. But I didn't know what it was for my mother to have a father in the household for us. But I always, even then, desired, if I was going to play house, it's going to be a mom and it's going to be a daddy. It was about the relationship. And then you wonder, when people fail at relationship, fail at love, how do they take it so hard? Some people take it so hard that there's a loss, there's a separation, there's a detachment from someone they truly cared about, as if life was completely over for them. And sometimes it would be, because sometimes it does lead to suicide. But you have to go back. I was just really thinking about all of this, thinking, if someone has carried that torch to be loved and desired and wanted that relationship since first grade, second grade, third grade, whatever that grade, this just didn't just occur just because they met someone. They've been carrying this torch all those years, hoping, wishing, wanting, desiring to feel love, to be desired, to want to give love, receive love, to wanting that mate, to being with that one someone that they desired and love. And then to be snatched away. Because sometimes we look at broken relationships or failed relationship as if it just happened. But you don't know the weight of that person carried to have that desire for over the years or the course of their life. You don't know the history in which they've been carrying that torch. We don't know that. But it's so much when it comes to love and to be in a relationship that we desire. And let's not forget about all those romantic movies that those Cinderellas, when you find your true love and you live happily ever after. And you love to watch romance because romance ends well. And you see yourself as if in a fantasy world of one day that would be me. One day I will have what she has, where someone just loved me to the every being in them, to treat me so well, so nicely, that we just love each other so to the core of our being that we will be inseparable. Our love will never die. We will forever have. A lot in life, guys, set us up to believe that love can be a fantasy. Now, let me not get this where it's misconstrued. Sometimes people really do get it right. They find that man, they find that woman that knows how to love them. They give everything they can to make that person feel and to see their love. They put love into action. If you're blessed to have that, that's great. That's beautiful, that's wonderful. But that's a rare find instead of something that's the norm. Because most relationship takes a lot of work. And then some relationships feel that you are truly in and on a battlefield, fighting. So that's when love is on the battlefield. When love that you thought would blossom into something beautiful, and now you feel like you're standing literally in a battlefield and you're fighting opposing forces instead of one that's together. You're duking it out, whether it be verbally, emotional abuse, physical abuse, disrespect, whatever the case may be. Not seen, not heard. Two chiefs, everybody want to run and be the chief. You both want to lead, so you conflict. And what that is, both people can't lead. And it's difficult to humble yourself to the point of realizing both of you can't lead. The order in which it should be the man, but we know that's not always the case. Because sadly, A lot of men don't even know how to lead, let alone lead. And sadly, sometimes women don't know how to follow because they always led. And that's even sad. So sometimes you just have sad situations. But sometimes love is a battlefield. Your escape sometimes it's just the fact that I have a job outside my house, that I don't have to deal with this person. So I go to work. Matter of fact, you may sign up for overtime. I'll work some weekends. I'll come in extra just to get away from that person you married, or that person that's become your partner or your mate. Because sometimes it's just unbearable to just even be there. Because love sometimes feels like you're on a battlefield. You're in conflict constantly. No peace nowhere. You fight until you're exhausted. And you just can't fix something. Sometimes you just can't fix what is broken. So it is. Love is a battlefield sometimes. When to fight. That when to fight is truly on an individual basis. I've had where people have shared with me things that have gone on in their relationships. And some of this stuff is so horrific. You just you cringe at even the conversation. Wondering, how do you have even put up with that? How have you even endured that? All this time, these years, after years, after years. Till you don't have fight even in you anymore. But you haven't decided that it's time to flight. But you're still in it, still taking the abuse. Sometimes you're just too exhausted to move. So you just lay in it. Years go by and you're still in the same place. Same place, same space, same situation. And I didn't understand when some people share some things with me to that level. And I know, and even I've said even to myself, I've stayed in a relationship too long. And see, I could say to myself, well, but I didn't take that. Well, you can say that, you can share your story. And people are like, but how did you stay in it also so long? When you saw all of this happening to you. So I guess if I had to sum it up, it's easy to get lost in the fight. Still wanted to stay in it, to just not let go. Nobody can't tell you when to leave. They making share their opinion with you, their thoughts with you. But ultimately, in the end, it's your decision whether you stay in it to fight or when it's your time to flight. It has to be your decision. Because whatever decision you make has to be one that you choose, not someone choose it for you. Because we live with a lot of guilt. We can go through a lot of guilt trips on things I should not have left. And I know with me, part of that for me was I wanted to leave with a clear conscience, as I had done everything in me also to feel like I had the right to leave. But when you're in a relationship and it's a battlefield, and sometimes it's not about how you love. I mean, I'm just saying it's he loves you, you love him. But you're constantly fighting. You at each other all the time. You wake up in the morning, it's a bad morning because you're looking at him. You go to bed at night, And it's bad because they're still here. You wake up in the morning and you already know it's going to be something. You come home from work or you come home from wherever you've been and you're just waiting for something to happen. And here we go again. Just because you love doesn't mean that you got it right. It takes more than love to make a relationship. Love in a relationship take on so many different forms as you go through life. You have this puppy love, then you got a love that, is one that could be steady until it isn't. You may have a love that is like an old shoe, it just gotten comfortable. You got a love or could have a love that's also on fire because the chemistry is strong. There's so many different forms of how you love and what that feels like to you. But when you have love, and love is a battlefield, you already know it's toxic. It's toxic. Because what is a battlefield? It's there to destroy. A battlefield, you duking it out. May the best one be standing. I got to get you before you get me. We're not friends. Matter of fact, we're opposing forces, so we're enemies. When love is a battlefield, you're not together. Even though you may physically be together, but you're not together. You're so detached. You don't see each other as you should see each other. You're not putting in the work to love each other, care for each other, nourish each other, serve each other. That love looked like something totally different. It's a disaster. Sometimes it's a horror movie, depending on what you're enduring in that so-called love relationship. But sometimes love can be a battlefield. Fighting sometimes for your survival. Fighting sometimes that you don't even drown in it, or better yet, die in it. It can be a battlefield of just survival. It's hard. It's hard. And you still stay in it. So you're still in a place of fight instead of a place of flight. And how long has it been? 20 years, 25 years, 30 years, or however long. And you're still on a battlefield fighting each other. I guess till the first one dies. Then I guess the fight will be over. But that's crazy. But it's not my life. It could be your life. Or it could be somebody's life that you know. But love, that little 4-letter word, love, can sometimes start out so good and just in the seemingly the most perfect place until it isn't. Or it can just be good until it isn't. It can be healthy until it isn't. I'm just saying it's not promised. Life happens. People can start one way and end another. But I do know we encourage relationship at an early age. So we are groomed to want that. We're groomed to need that. But what you have to also have to bring it back to you, and that is finding balance in relationships. That's the subtitle of this podcast. But that love first starts with you. You have to love you. If you want the best out of anything you do, you have to first love you to know how to love someone else. Which brings me to this. When you're dating someone or getting to know someone, please ask them about their childhood, their parents' relationship with their father or their stepfather, whomever, or their relationship, family dynamic when it comes to just their extended family. See for yourself what this person have been groomed to be, what he's had to overcome to be different, what has been embedded in him through what he's seen and what he's experienced as a child. You need to be asking. You need to be asking. Because they may only know love to be a battlefield, thinking that's healthy, thinking that's normal and acceptable. But sometimes we so busy dating, looking at the wrong thing and not asking the right questions. You have a need to know. What did that look like? And I look at me thinking, if that question was asked to me, I would have to share with them about all the different relationship with my mother, the abuse that I saw. But my extended family as a whole, being close to my family, close to God, my relationship, knowing still how to love. But when it came to intimacy, that could be questionable. Because far too much, that what you see and what you had to experience is sometimes for many people to shake off. All they do is just carry that into the next relationship they have. All that baggage. Or they can also be like me. And that's learning how to move out of that to make something better for yourself. But not to say I didn't take some of that baggage with me, because yes, I did. Yes, I did. Multiple marriages. Yeah. Like my mother. Did that. But what I refused to do was take the abuse. I can't do that. I'm better than that. I love myself better than that. But you need to be asking those questions so that you can at least know what's been poured into the person you want to date. And surely you need to know what's been poured into that person who you want to marry or have kids with. Because now that's a lifetime of devotion to some level to that person, because they're always tied to you through that child. Ask the right questions. Probe. Go deep. There's no such thing as going too deep. Go deep and find out what's really been poured into that person. What's their life experiences was like. And how much of that have you overcame, and how much of that you're still struggling with. So I can have some idea as to how I move into this relationship. Or maybe I need to move around. Maybe I just need to move away. But love in a battlefield, guys, is not a joke. It's not nothing to play with. If you see the signs early, you're already toxic. You're already fighting each other. It's already to a level that you guys are not getting along. Then why would you bring that into a marriage and create something even worse? Because now you committed to this person. You're in a marriage. If it was toxic from the beginning, it's going to be toxic after the I do's. And love is a battlefield. When do you fight and when do you flight? And again, that's an individual call. You make that decision. But for and foremost, you want to stay healthy. You don't need to put on any more scars than what you already carry. Because some of those scars that you allow, they may not ever, ever heal. So you have to be careful who you allow in your space to love. Being careful who do you allow in your space to marry. Being careful that you first and foremost, love you. Love you. I hope this message has helped someone. I don't know where you are in your relationships. I don't know where you are in your marriage. I don't know what that looked like for you. But is your love a battlefield? Is this someone you constantly fighting with? You haven't yet married, and believe me, a lot of those people like that wants to marry you. If you're the more level-headed, the more normal person, the one more balanced, they love to marry you. But that would change the whole trajectory of your whole life to marry into that. So where are you in your relationship? Is it toxic? Is it one that you still in a place of fight? Or is one that you feel it's time to be in a place of flight? It's something to really think about. So I look at that and just say thank you for tuning in for this particular episode. I thank you. And as we move forward, I can only just say be blessed. I pray for safety for each and every one of you. And I don't mean just the physical, but your mind. You want to stay safe because people will literally taint your mind, take your mind, because we carry love to a place that bed is so deep in us that it literally can destroy you when it fails. So I thank you. I just pray that you're all in a good place, or at least a place that you still feel that has potential that it can be worked out. Counseling. My husband and I, we've had to go because sometimes it's good to bounce things off someone else. Don't be afraid to go. And men, you guys are the worst who don't want to go. That's part of the fight. Go to counseling. And women, don't be afraid to approach that and ask for counseling. And men, don't be too prideful, resisting counseling because of your pride. And you're willing to lose your woman, your wife, because of your stubbornness. Because if you really want that love to heal, then you fight. You fight. So I thank you. I don't know who that message was for, but I thank you for tuning in to this particular one. Visit me on my Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. Be a part of my podcast family by subscribing and follow. Share this message with someone you think can benefit from. If you like the message that was delivered, please click the like button. And I just thank you. And I look forward to the next episode. And I just want to say thank you again for tuning in, keeping me encouraged, and supporting me as I continue this journey. Thank you, and I will see you on the next one. Thank you so much.